Know Your Armor, a guide to surviving in Skyrim. If you can understand the principles that guide the construction of armors, you will come to a relatively simple system that lets you read armors, even in the midst of battle. That is, different armors, contingent on their design and material, come with different strengths and weaknesses. The warrior who can recognize these differences will be the one who survives. There are far too many armors for one to learn them all individually. Instead, this book will instruct the reader in the general principles of armor such that they can wield knowledge to their advantage even when faced with a novel opponent. To this end, one need only consider two questions. First, of what is the armor made? Second, what is its design? Let us consider these in turn. Armors are made of four types of material: fur, leather, metals, and glasses. All of these bring different properties. Fur armors are the cheapest and least effective. Beyond modest protection, they also protect the wearer against the cold, including frost magic. To this end, many armors made from other materials include a fur underlayer. However, the physical properties of fur are limited, and in particular, they offer almost no resistance to arrows. Examples: the fur armor worn by common bandits, also that of the Forsworn. Leather is the next most available material. While it is overall a superior material to fur, it nonetheless remains vulnerable to arrows. The curing process results in a resistance to heat, thus blacksmiths often wear leather aprons, but it also means leather armor protects against fire-based magic. Examples: hide, leather, studded, and so on. The light armor of Hold Guards in the Imperial Legion. Metal armors are heavy and expensive, but offer a greater deal of protection than fur or leather. They are particularly effective against arrows and bladed weapons. However, metal is vulnerable to shock spells, seemingly drawing them towards the wearer, and heating to extreme temperatures with prolonged exposure. Examples: iron, steel, dwarven, orcish, and heavy legion armors. Glassy armors are rare, but come in a variety of forms. They are not made of glass as is commonly understood, but rather a tough and somewhat inflexible material that ranges from opalescent to rock-like in appearance. This material is broadly opposed to metal. It is tremendously resistant to shock spells, but lacks malleability, being degraded by blunt strikes or the sudden temperature changes caused by fire and frost magic. Examples: elven, glass, and ebony. The material is not the only concern, however, as many materials can be worked into different designs. Whilst aesthetics vary from place to place, three general design styles can typically be recognized: layered, thick, and deep. The layered design is straightforward and reasonably economical. Multiple thin layers are combined to deflect blows. This helps reduce the penetration of arrows, but does little else to help the armor. Examples: scaled, elven, orcish, and imperial light armors. The thick design is similarly straightforward, but sacrifices mobility, as it requires lots of material to be borne by the wearer. Nonetheless, this gives the wearer significant physical protection, particularly against blades and arrows, examples iron and steel armor, but also glass armor. The deep design is exemplified by plate armors produced by master blacksmiths. The goal of this design is to create a buffer zone between the wearer and the incoming attack that prevents harm. It is highly effective against blunt weapons and also axes. However, it poses immense challenges to the maker and must be custom fit to the wearer. Examples: steel plate, dwarven, and ebony armors. The true art of smithing, then, is not in simply choosing material design, but rather identifying the combination of both that produces the desired results. To illustrate this principle in action, let us consider some well-known armor styles. Imperial light armor, leather, layered. Note here that the weaknesses of the leather to arrows is rectified by the layered design. This produces a well-rounded armor, with notable protection against fire spells. Scaled armor, leather and fur, layered. The addition of fur causes a renewed weakness to arrows, but provides additional resistances to the cold, a well-balanced armor for rangers and scouts. Iron armor, metal, thick. Both material and design work together to provide a high level of protection against arrows and blades, although the weakness to shock spells must be kept in mind. Addition of fur, as in banded, iron or steel armors, sacrifices some of the arrow resistance in return for significant protection against the cold. Elven armor, glassy, layered. A risky combination, highly resistant to shock and arrows, but weak to fire, frost, and blunt weapons. Suitable for skilled warriors who can outflank dangerous foes. Dwarven armor, metal, deep. A remarkable achievement, noticeably resistant to all forms of physical attack. Offers little against magic, however, and is weak to shock spells. Ebony armor, glassy and deep. An armor worthy of the greatest knights. Ebony combines the magical properties of glass with the physical protection of the deep design, with these examples acting to illustrate the principles of material and design in action. We wish the reader well in their travels.